What's my name? Yeah, yeah.
Cause it don't need true. Not just like the way you feel it. Got me feel that true. Let's roll. You'll never believe what happened right now. There's a musical curse over swell. Yeah, I know. You'll never believe who did it. Right, cheating? Yeah, I know. You'll never believe how he did it. He took control of the speaker and then put out a weird kind of frequency, and now we have to sing Jasper. Yeah. Thanks for failing. Sorry it took me so. You'll never believe what happened. No, I know. There's a musical curse over swell. Yeah, I know. And you'll never believe who did it. Frank cheating? Frank cheating? Yeah, I know. Ooh, hey, you'll never believe how he did it. He took control of the speaker. I know. And then put out a weird kind of frequency, and now we have to sing Jasper. If you want to instantly become a better fighter in ranked, then you've come to the right place. I've been a top ranked player for over 8 seasons now, and today I'm going to be showing all of you 8 different ways to become a better fighter in ranked in the new season. To make sure that you watching this video, yes, you who keeps dying in ranked, never loses a fight again. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out my other socials. Use code Farley. But now onto the video. So first off, if you want to become a god fighter in the new season, you need to learn the techniques on ending fights quickly. Now, one of the best ways that you can end fights quickly is by learning how to make perfect peaks. Perfect peaks are going to allow you to do damage to your opponent while not taking damage at the same time. An example of perfect peaks would be right here. As you can see, I'm fighting this player. I'm able to pump him, but then he pumps me and cracks me. So I'm going to back up while creating space in metal to pop my meds. Eventually, this player is going to come over and he's going to push me. And before he gets to my boxes, I'm going to use the scanner, so I have an advantage. And eventually, when this player pushes up to my wall, I see he's moving left, so I'm going to edit out right to give me a right-hand peek. But then I see the player running through this ramp, so I'm going to edit a window while he's running up and then place a cone. This now blocks the player from going up. He's now stuck. I have a right-hand peek. I'm able to pump the player, but I overexpose myself and he cracks me as well. So my next edit needs to be perfect so I don't take damage. And now I'm going to edit the right wall, and then I'm going to move to the left. This means I have a full right-hand peek. If we look at my POV right now, I can completely see the player. But from his POV, you can see that I'm completely hidden. This means that this player whiffs his shot. He now has shotgun delay. I can easily swing around the corner, pump the player, and then pick up a free kill. And then I make sure to create space around me so I avoid third parties. So make sure if you want to end fights effectively, you learn how to take perfect peeks. Moving on now, let's talk about the next way to become a god fighter in ranked, and that is by learning how to do counter damage. Counter damage is basically just when you're on low HP, you look for damage on your opponent to regain the advantage in a fight. An example of counter damage would be right here. I'm on the roof of the Supernova Academy. There's another player as well. We're going to get in a bloom battle, and he's going to win the bloom battle, and he's going to crack me. And after this player cracks me, he's super close to me and he's closing the distance, which means I'm not going to have time to pop my meds, so I need to look for counter damage. So I'm going to pop my chug jug while dropping onto low ground, and then I'm going to cover my head in hard mats and wait for him to make a mistake. And when I see this player swinging on my wall, I know if I time him correctly, I can pre-fire this player. So I'm going to let him swing twice on the wall, and on the second swing, I'm going to pre-fire him, and I'm going to crack him while backpedaling. That was the counter damage I was looking for, and now you'll notice I have the health advantage. But now I'm going to play patient and wait for the player to make a mistake. When I see the player in front of me, I'm going to make a window edit, but the player places a ramp in front of me, and he saw the other wall open, so he's trying to land on that side of the box. So it's very important that I reset that wall so that he can't hit me in the face, but he is able to grab the wall after he shoots it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait this player to make a bad edit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my pickaxe really quickly and then pull out my pump. This makes the player think I'm going to go swing on the wall, but instead I have my pump out. That means I have less shotgun play and I can pump the player and then pick up a free kill. So make sure to do things like this to get counter damage on your opponents. Moving on now, let's talk about the biggest issue that players run into in ranked, and that is third parties, because it seems every single time you pick up a kill this season, you're going to get third parties. So really quickly, here's an example of how I deal with third parties properly. A perfect example of how to deal with third parties is right here. As you can see, I'm on high ground. But while I was trying to fight this player, another player is going to come over and try and third party me. When I see the visual sound effects, I realize this fight isn't worth it anymore. I'm going to dash away and create distance so I can relax. But the other player decides that he wants to keep chasing me. Now, eventually, when the player pushes up to me, I'm going to be in this building right here, and I'm going to create some space in metal. After I create space, it's very important that I use the scanner item so that I know where he is at all times. This means that when this player pushes up to my wall, I know exactly where he is. And what I can do is I can catch the player off guard. I see him swinging on my roof, so I'm going to move out to the right in his blind spot, jump shot, and then crack the player in the head. This means he's now super weak and I can take the fight to him. I'm not going to go jump in his box and ruin that health advantage I have. I'm going to play patient and wait for this player to box up. Now eventually I'm able to force this player on low ground and he's going to box up. And if you didn't know already, with the new move item, you can shoot walls and then you can pre-fire it with your pump. And this is going to allow me to do this to this other player, pre-fire him, and then pick up a free kill. And after I pick up that kill, notice how I create space to avoid getting third-partied, and then I hit my scanner again, so I know if there's any other people around me trying to third-party me. Moving on now, let's talk about the next technique to become a better fighter, and that is opening damage. A lot of people don't know this, but when you get opening damage on your opponent, you're going to be able to determine if they're good or bad based on their reaction to the damage. So an example of opening damage would be right here. As you can see, I'm leaving the Supernova Academy, and I hear two other people on the outside of the map fighting, so I'm going to push over there. When I'm running in that direction, I see this other player swimming in the water, so I'm going to sit on the hill, wait for the right moment, and when this player lands, I'm going to get a big hit of opening damage and beat him. When I beat this player, I notice something. The player only makes one box of brick space. If you make one box of brick space while another opponent is close to you, you're never going to have time to pop meds, because if you notice in this example, I'm closing the distance while applying pressure, so that means when the other player tries to pop his minis, he can't pop any minis because he's forced to build. When I push up to this player's box now, I'm going to force him to make a mistake by applying pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop onto his right wall, spray it, and then try and swing on it. What this is going to do is it's going to force the player to leave the box. And when I notice the player trying to move upwards, that means he's probably going to set up a double edit and try and edit out in that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that angle by putting walls in between me and him, edit the wall, place two cones, one above him, one right on him. This means he's full pace, as you can see, and since I did this, I'm able to then pump the player and then pick up a free kill. But I was only able to kill this player super quickly because I noticed he wasn't good by my opening damage. So make sure to do this when you get opening damage. Moving on now, let's talk about the next best way that you can become a god fighter in rank, and that is by learning how to turn defense into offense. So let's use this fight right here as an example. As you can see, I'm on low ground sitting in a box, popping my meds, and the opponent I'm fighting is on high ground. Now while I'm sitting in my box, I don't know where the other player is. He can be lurking anywhere near me, so I'm going to edit the floor above me and then scout through my cone so that I can see the player. And I saw the top of the player's head on this cone. When this player realizes I've seen him, he's going to now start to push me. Now that I've baited him in, I'm going to let this player use the gloves on me and try and jump in my box. What you can do from this point is pre-fire the player and crack him and then replace the builds, and that's exactly what I do here. I wait for the player to break builds, and then I pre-fire him, and then I jump down and hold my builds. After this point now, I have a health advantage, but the builds above me are weak, and if you didn't know already, not only can you boost into builds, you can boost above builds. So I'm going to boost into the ground, and it's going to fly me up in the air, and this is going to give me a jump shot now on the player to then pump him, and then